Imagine waking up one morning and realizing the world around you isn't as sharp as it used to be. The words on a page blur, the streetlights at night look like exploding stars, and even the faces you love most seem to fade into shadow. Many people are told this is just getting old. But the truth? That's not the full story. I'm Dr. Brian, and welcome to Ageless Garden. For more than 25 years, I've worked with older adults who fear their independence slipping away simply because their vision isn't what it once was. And what I've seen again and again is that eyesight doesn't just fade because of age. It fades because our eyes are starving for the right nutrients. In today's video, I'll reveal 5 powerful vegetables that science shows can help restore sharp vision naturally. One of them is probably hiding in your pantry right now. When most of us hear the phrase, foods to improve eyesight, the first thing that comes to mind is the carrot. It's almost a cliche, isn't it? We were told as children that eating carrots would help us see in the dark. But somewhere along the way, many of us stopped listening. The carrots stayed in the crisper drawer, while bread, meat, and convenience foods filled our plates. And yet, the simple carrot still holds one of the keys to protecting your vision as you age. Carrots are loaded with something called beta-carotene. Think of beta-carotene as the golden pigment that gives carrots their bright orange color. But inside your body, this pigment does something extraordinary. It transforms into vitamin A, the very nutrient your eyes depend on for clarity, moisture, and low-light vision. Without enough vitamin A, the surface of your eyes dries out, your retina begins to thin, and your ability to see at night starts to fade. Scientists have known this for decades. In fact, research published in the archives of ophthalmology has shown that diets rich in vitamin A significantly reduce the risk of age-related eye diseases. It's not magic. It's biology. Let me tell you about one of my patients, Frank. He was 68 when he came to see me, worried about his night driving. He told me, "Doc, I avoid going out after dark because headlights look like fireworks. The road disappears in front of me." Now, Frank didn't need surgery. He wasn't going blind. But when we looked at his diet, it was clear what was missing. He ate plenty of pasta, bread and meat, but almost no colorful vegetables, no carrots, no leafy greens. I asked him to do one simple thing. Eat half a cup of cooked carrots 3 or 4 times a week. That's it. And here's where the science meets common sense. Cooking carrots, lightly steaming or sautéing them, actually unlocks more beta-carotene than eating them raw. And because vitamin A is fat-soluble, pairing those carrots with a drizzle of olive oil or a slice of avocado makes it easier for the body to absorb. Frank was skeptical, but he agreed to try. 3 weeks later, he came back with a smile on his face. "Doc, I drove home after sunset last night. For the first time in years, I could see the road. It wasn't perfect, but I didn't feel afraid." That moment reminded me why I do this work. We sometimes underestimate how small, consistent choices can bring real freedom back into our lives. For Frank, a vegetable he used to ignore in his fridge drawer gave him the confidence to drive again. Now maybe you're wondering how much carrot you need. You don't have to eat buckets of them. Even a few servings a week can make a difference. You can slice them into salads, roast them until they caramelize, blend them into soups, or even mash them into a side dish. The key is regularity, not perfection. And here's something worth remembering. Vitamin A from carrots doesn't just help your eyes. It strengthens your immune system, supports your skin, and protects the delicate linings inside your body. It's a nutrient your body craves, especially after 60, when absorption naturally slows. By feeding your body the raw materials it's missing, you're not just helping your eyes, you're nourishing your whole self. So the next time you're planning a meal, think of the humble carrot not as a garnish, but as eyesight improvement food, a natural ally in keeping your vision clear and your independence strong. If carrots are the classic eyesight food, sweet potatoes are their richer, more powerful cousin. Their deep orange flesh isn't just beautiful to look at, it's a signal of how densely packed they are with beta-carotene, the very pigment your body turns into vitamin A. In fact, just one medium sweet potato provides more than 4 times your daily recommended amount of vitamin A. That's not a typo. 4 times. Imagine what that steady supply can do for your eyes when eaten regularly. Now let's talk about what's at stake. One of the most overlooked vision problems I see in my clinic is dry eyes. It sounds minor, but if you've experienced it, you know it can be miserable. The constant burning, itching, or that strange sensation like sand is trapped under your eyelids. Many of my patients over 60 assume it's just age, something to tolerate, but more often than not, it's a simple signal of vitamin A deficiency. You see, vitamin A doesn't just sharpen vision, it also helps your eyes produce the protective tear film that coats and lubricates the surface. Without that thin layer of moisture, every blink can feel rough. The cornea, that clear dome at the front of your eye, can actually start to crack or inflame. That's why so many older adults live with red, tired-looking eyes and chalk it up to just getting older. But food can turn that story around. I think of Lorraine, a 73-year-old widow who came to me frustrated beyond words. She loved doing crossword puzzles in the evening, but her eyes felt like sandpaper after just a few minutes. She carried artificial tears in her purse and used them 6 or 7 times a day. Television bothered her, the air conditioner dried her out, and even reading the paper became a chore. When we looked at her diet, I saw the same pattern I've seen countless times: plenty of toast, tea, and deli meats, but no orange vegetables in sight. I suggested something simple: bake a batch of sweet potatoes once a week. She could mash them, roast them, or slice them into stews. All I asked was that she eat at least half a cup 3 or 4 times a week, ideally with a little healthy fat, a drizzle of olive oil, some chopped walnuts, or a side of avocado. 2 weeks later, she came back surprised, not cured, but amazed. She said, "Doc, I finished a whole chapter in my novel without reaching for my eye drops once. I can't remember the last time that happened." That's the quiet power of diet to improve eyesight and comfort. Sweet potatoes aren't just about beta-carotene. They also deliver fiber, antioxidants, and a natural sweetness that doesn't spike your blood sugar the way white potatoes can. That matters because blood sugar swings themselves can damage small blood vessels in the eyes over time. So in choosing sweet potatoes, you're protecting your vision on multiple fronts. And the beauty of sweet potatoes is how versatile they are. You can cube them and roast them until caramelized, blend them into soups for a creamy texture, or even stir mashed sweet potato into oatmeal for a naturally sweet breakfast. When paired with a source of fat, you maximize your body's ability to absorb and use that precious vitamin A. So if your eyes often feel raw, if windy days leave them stinging, or if blinking itself feels uncomfortable, I want you to see sweet potatoes not just as food, but as medicine nature has already packaged for you. They are one of the best foods to boost eye health and one of the simplest ways to bring comfort and clarity back into your daily life. When people think of eyesight improvement food, they often jump straight to orange vegetables like carrots and sweet potatoes. But let me tell you something that surprises many of my patients. Some of the most powerful foods to improve eyesight aren't orange at all. They're green. Dark leafy greens, and spinach in particular, carry nutrients that protect the most delicate and vital part of your vision, the macula. The macula sits right at the center of your retina. It's responsible for the sharp, detailed vision you use to read, to recognize faces, and to see the expressions of people you love. But as we age, the macula is often the first part of the eye to break down. It starts slowly. Words on a page may blur in the center, straight lines may look wavy, or you might find yourself recognizing someone's shape but not their face. These are early signs of macular degeneration, a condition that steals central vision while leaving the edges intact. Now here's where spinach comes in. Spinach is rich in vitamin A, which we've already talked about, but it also contains two special antioxidants, lutein and zeaxanthin. Think of these nutrients as a pair of sunglasses built into your food. They concentrate in the macula, where they filter out harmful blue light, the very light emitted by screens and sunlight, and reduce inflammation in the retina. Research from the American Journal of Epidemiology has shown that diets high in lutein and zeaxanthin significantly lower the risk of developing age-related macular degeneration. Let me share Harold's story. Harold was 75 when he sat in my office, tears welling in his eyes. He told me, "I can see the shape of my daughter's head, but not her face. It's like the middle is gone." His diet, like so many seniors, was heavy on bread, cheese, and coffee, with very few vegetables. I asked him to add just half a cup of cooked spinach to his meals 2 or 3 times a week, scrambled into his morning eggs, stirred into soups, or simply sautéed with garlic and olive oil. A month later, he returned with a story that still gives me chills. He said, "Doc, yesterday I looked at my daughter and I saw her eyes. Not perfect, but clearer, sharper." What happened wasn't magic. It was nutrition finally reaching the part of his body crying out for it. The lutein and zeaxanthin from the spinach had begun concentrating in his macula, giving his retina the natural protection it had been missing. Now, here's an important detail. Cooking spinach actually makes it more powerful for your eyes. Raw spinach is healthy, yes, but it also contains compounds called oxalates that can block mineral absorption. Lightly cooking spinach reduces those oxalates, making its nutrients more available to your body. And, as with carrots and sweet potatoes, pairing spinach with healthy fats like olive oil or avocado helps your body absorb the fat-soluble vitamins more efficiently. Spinach may not have the sweet appeal of carrots or sweet potatoes, but when it comes to foods to boost eye health, it is a quiet powerhouse. You don't need to turn into a health nut or eat mountains of greens. Just a few servings a week can protect your macula, keeping the center of your vision clear so you can continue reading, recognizing faces, and enjoying the fine details of life. So the next time you pass by those leafy greens in the grocery store, don't think of them as rabbit food. Think of them as shields for your eyes. A simple, natural way to protect the vision that lets you see the people and places that matter most. Pumpkin might not be the first food you think of when it comes to eyesight, but it's one of the most underestimated. We often picture pumpkin in pies around the holidays, maybe in a latte or a festive decoration on the porch. But what if I told you that pumpkin could quietly be one of the strongest diet choices to improve eyesight and keep your vision sharper as you age? Here's why. Pumpkin is loaded not just with beta-carotene, but also alpha-carotene. Both of these carotenoids convert into vitamin A in your body. And vitamin A, as we've been saying all along, is like fuel for your eyes. It keeps the cornea moist, strengthens the retina's ability to adapt to light, and helps prevent the slow decline of night vision that frustrates so many older adults. But pumpkin brings something extra to the table. It also contains lutein and zeaxanthin, those same macula-protecting antioxidants we just talked about with spinach. Now, why does this matter so much for seniors? As we age, our bodies become less efficient at converting carotenoids into usable vitamin A. That means even if you're eating some orange vegetables here and there, your body might not be making enough vitamin A to really support your eyes. Pumpkin is special because it delivers such a concentrated mix of carotenoids, giving your body more raw material to work with. Even small servings can help keep your levels steady. I often tell my patients, you don't need to eat a mountain of pumpkin every day. A half-cup serving a few times a week can act like a quiet stream of support for your eyesight. It doesn't shout the way carrots or sweet potatoes do. It whispers steadily, keeping your eyes nourished over time. And the versatility of pumpkin makes it an easy addition to your diet. You can blend it into soups for a velvety texture, stir it into oatmeal with a sprinkle of cinnamon, or bake it into wholesome muffins. You don't have to wait for Thanksgiving to enjoy it. In fact, canned pumpkin, the pure kind, not the pie filling with sugar, is available year-round and works beautifully in both savory and sweet dishes. Pumpkin is also rich in fiber, which helps regulate blood sugar. That's important because unstable blood sugar doesn't just affect your energy levels. It can damage the delicate blood vessels in your eyes. So in a way, every time you eat pumpkin, you're protecting your eyesight from multiple angles, nourishing your cornea and retina, shielding your macula, and supporting the small blood vessels that keep your vision clear. One of my patients, Evelyn, a 70-year-old retired teacher, told me she thought pumpkin was kid food, something you carve, not something you eat. But after her daughter encouraged her to try making pumpkin soup with a drizzle of olive oil, she noticed something unexpected. "I don't strain as much when I come in from outside," she said. "The shift from bright light to dim rooms isn't as hard anymore." That's a classic sign that her retina's light adaptation was improving, a direct result of consistent vitamin A intake. So if you've overlooked pumpkin as just a seasonal treat, I want you to see it differently. Think of it as one of nature's most generous eyesight improvement foods, available all year round. quietly strengthening your vision in ways you may not notice until one day you realize the world just looks clearer, sharper, easier. Tomatoes are so common that most of us barely think about them. They're sliced onto sandwiches, tossed into salads, simmered into pasta sauce. But inside this familiar fruit lies a powerhouse for your eyes, one that can make a real difference in how you see the world as you age. Tomatoes are rich in vitamin A, yes, but they also contain a unique antioxidant called lycopene. Lycopene gives tomatoes their vibrant red color, and inside your body it works like a protective shield. Think of lycopene as a bodyguard for your retina, guarding it against oxidative stress, the slow, invisible process of cellular damage that's linked to vision decline and even age-related macular degeneration. Now let's talk about something many of my patients struggle with: night vision. If you've ever felt nervous driving after sunset or found yourself hesitating to walk down a dim hallway because the shadows feel too thick, you know how unsettling this can be. That struggle often comes down to the health of rod cells in your retina. These rod cells rely on a protein called rhodopsin to detect light in low conditions. Without enough vitamin A, your body can't make enough rhodopsin, and your night vision begins to falter. Tomatoes, with their blend of vitamin A and lycopene, directly support the production of rhodopsin while also protecting the retina from damage. I remember Bill, a 69-year-old former mechanic, who came to me feeling embarrassed. He said, "Doc, I used to fix cars until midnight under a single bulb, but now I can't even walk to the mailbox at night without a flashlight." His diet was simple and convenient, mostly bread, cheese, and processed meats, but very little fresh produce. I suggested he start incorporating cooked tomatoes into his weekly meals. Why cooked? Because lycopene becomes more bioavailable when tomatoes are heated, especially when paired with a little healthy fat like olive oil. That meant spaghetti sauce, tomato soup, or even roasted tomatoes on whole grain toast. 3 months later, Bill came back with a grin. "I'm not saying I've got eagle eyes, Doc, but I don't need that flashlight anymore just to cross my yard." His confidence had returned, not from some expensive pill or procedure, but from something as humble as simmered tomatoes on the stove. That's the beauty of foods to boost eye health. They're not exotic or hard to find. They're sitting in your kitchen, waiting to be used in ways that nourish not just your stomach, but your eyesight. Here's a practical tip. Keep a few cans of no salt added diced or crushed tomatoes in your pantry. They're inexpensive, they last for months, and they can be the base for countless meals. Add them to soups, stews, casseroles, or simply simmer them with herbs and olive oil for a quick sauce. This is one of the simplest diet steps you can take to improve eyesight naturally, because it builds eye-supporting nutrition into meals you're already eating. And let's not forget fresh tomatoes. A handful of cherry tomatoes as a snack, or slices layered on whole grain bread with avocado. Add a burst of lycopene that accumulates in your tissues over time. Remember, eye health isn't about a single meal. It's about consistency. Lycopene builds up in your system like money in a savings account. Every serving is an investment in keeping your eyes strong against the wear and tear of aging. So the next time you pass by tomatoes in the store, don't see just an ordinary salad ingredient. See them as one of the most accessible, affordable, and powerful eyesight improvement foods available to you. Sometimes the everyday foods we overlook are the very ones that hold the key to keeping our world clear and bright. At this point, you might be thinking, "Dr. Brian, do I really have to eat all 5 of these vegetables every single day?" And the answer is no. This isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. The truth is, your eyes don't need you to completely overhaul your diet overnight. What they need is a steady, reliable supply of nutrients that rebuild and protect vision over time. Here's a simple way to think about it. Start with 3 days a week. On those days, make sure at least 2 of the 5 vegetables we've talked about show up on your plate. Maybe that means spinach in your morning omelet and tomatoes in your evening soup, or sweet potatoes baked for lunch and a side of pumpkin blended into a hearty stew for dinner. It's not about restriction. It's about weaving these foods naturally into the meals you already enjoy. And don't worry about whether the vegetables are fresh, canned, or frozen. The key is choosing options without added sugar or too much salt. Canned pumpkin puree, frozen spinach, even jarred tomato sauce. These are all excellent, practical choices. Seniors often tell me, I don't have the time or energy to cook from scratch every night. That's perfectly fine. You can take advantage of these convenient forms without losing the benefits. The one non-negotiable I want you to remember is this. Always pair these vegetables with a little healthy fat. Olive oil, avocado, nuts, or even a sprinkle of seeds. Why? Because many of the nutrients that improve eyesight naturally, like beta-carotene and lycopene, are fat-soluble. That means your body can't fully absorb them unless fat is present. A drizzle of olive oil on spinach or a spoonful of yogurt with pumpkin puree could make the difference between your body using those nutrients or letting them slip away unused. Think of this as brushing your teeth, but for your eyes. Just as you wouldn't skip days of oral care, these vegetables are daily habits that preserve not just your vision, but your independence, confidence, and joy in seeing life clearly. If you've noticed your eyes straining, words blurring, or nights feeling darker than they should, please don't shrug it off as just getting old. Those are your body's gentle warnings, asking for care. By choosing simple, everyday foods, carrots, sweet potatoes, spinach, pumpkin, and tomatoes, you're not just feeding your stomach, you're feeding your future. This is how to improve eyesight naturally, one meal at a time. Remember, small, consistent changes create lasting results. Your vision is your window to joy, independence, and connection. I'm Dr. Brian. Thank you for joining me here at Ageless Garden.